Okay, so this is part 2 of the exam 1 for chapters 12, 13, and 14 for accounting 2. Part 2 of the review with the exam problems. So we're going to start with number 7, and it says that a company paid cash dividends of 81 cents per share. Its earnings per share is $6.95, and its market price per share is $45. And they're asking, what is the dividend yield? All right, well, our formula for dividend yield is going to be the cash dividend per share divided by the market price per share. So that information is given to us. So it tells us that the cash dividend per share is going to be 81 cents or 0.81 divided by the market price per share of $45. If we divide that out, we get a 1.8% dividend yield. With our next one, number 8, it says a company's shares have a market value of $85 per share. Its net income is $3,500,000 and its weighted average common shares outstanding is 700,000. What is the price earnings ratio? Well, price earnings ratio formula is market price per share divided by the earnings per share. So if we divide that out, we have a market price per share they provided of $85 divided by the earnings per share. They didn't give it to us that way, so we had to calculate it. Earnings per share is taking our net income of $3,500,000 and dividing it by the number of shares outstanding, which is 700,000. If we do our math for the top and the bottom, we will get a ratio of an even, well, let's break it down. We'll have 85 divided by 5, which will come out to 17. And it comes out evenly, so 17.0. So our price earnings ratio is 17. All right, number 9. Number 9 says that the company declared a dividend of $2 per share, and they had common stock with 100,000 shares that were authorized, 85,000 shares that were issued, and 80,000 shares outstanding on March 1st. The date of record is March 31st, and the payment date is April 7th. What journal entries should be completed for the entire transaction? So let's look at the first part. All right, well, we have the date of declaration. And it creates a liability. So our entry for the date of declaration, we are going to be debiting retained earnings and crediting common dividends payable. But we have to figure out for how much. So let's see what kind of a liability this created. All right, so the amount of the dividend is going to be $2 per share times the number of outstanding shares. Remember, outstanding is what we pay dividends off of. So we have outstanding shares of 80,000, and that means we're going to pay a $160,000 dividend that was declared. So we're debiting retained earnings down here for $160,000, and we're crediting common dividends payable for $160,000. All right, on the date of record, what kind of journal entry do we do? It was March 31st, and the date of record, no journal entry is required. It's just the date that tells us who ever owns that stock on that date. That's who's going to get the actual dividend. All right, so now we go to the date of payment, which was April 7th. All right, so we have the date of payment, and we're looking, I'm going to just move this down to the next sheet so we can have it all in one. All right, date of payment is April 7th, and we are now paying that liability that we created with a date of declaration. So we're debiting common dividends payable for that $160,000, and we're crediting cash because we're paying them out in cash for $160,000. And that's our entry for that one. All right, looking at number 10. Number 10 says that Bayer Inc. declares a 3-for-2 stock split. So we have common stock that has a $10 par value. We have 120,000 shares authorized and 50,000 shares issued and outstanding. So that means there's no treasury stock. And we have a balance of 500,000. We have paid in capital that is 200,000. And then we have our retained earnings of 660,000 and our total stockholders' equity, which is $1,360,000. So they want us to prepare the journal entry that's required for a stock split. So let's think about this. What happens in a stock split? All right, well, common stock has a $10 par value. And if it's splitting 3-for-2, we are multiplying it by 2/3. And that means that the par value is going to go from $10 down to $6.67. But the shares go from 50,000 and we multiply that by 3/2, and we're going to end up with 75,000 shares. So when we look at what is our number that's in common stock, we have common stock with a $6.67 par value. We have 120,000 shares that are authorized. And now we have 75,000 issued and outstanding. But if we look, that number is still 500,000. That doesn't change. So that means that there is no journal entry required for a stock split. A stock split changes the value of each share of stock, and it decreases the value, the par value, but it increases the number of shares that you earn. But there's no journal entry that needs to be done for that entry. All right, let's look at number 11. So number 11, it says that we want to calculate the distribution of dividend for the following. So we have preferred stock that has a 6% cumulative $100 par value. There are 1,000 shares issued and outstanding, and we have common stock with 5,000 shares of $10 par value. So it gives us different years, and it tells us for year 1 they declared a $5,000 dividend, year 2 is $6,000, and year 3 is $15,000. So they want us to determine who gets what. So we're going to look at preferred, we're going to look at common, and then we have, because the preferred is cumulative, we also have to factor in if there's any arrears each year so that we can keep track of what we have to pay. All right, so the amount of dividend that the preferred dividend that the preferred stockholder is going to get is going to come from our calculation. So preferred stock dividend. We're going to take how many shares? We have 1,000 shares times the par value of 100 times the 6% rate. So they get $6,000 in dividends each year that they are entitled to. So year 1, they declared a $5,000 dividend. Preferred is supposed to get 6. So that means preferred gets all 5,000 of it. There's nothing left for common, and we still owe preferred $1,000 that will be in arrears. So that's year 1. Year 2, they have $1,000. They have $6,000 that they're declaring. So year 2, preferred is going to get all 6,000. But there's still 1,000 that's in arrears, so that doesn't change. And then year 3, we have 1,000 that's in arrears. Preferred is going to get actually 7,000 because they're getting 6,000 plus the 1,000 in arrears. So they actually get 7,000. Common is going to get the difference. So 15 minus 7, common is going to get 8,000. And there will be nothing in arrears. So we just have to apply. If it's cumulative, that means that the preferred stockholders are entitled to that every single year. So they're going to be entitled to get that amount every time. If it's non-cumulative, they only are entitled to whatever is actually declared that year. All right, so this is a review that takes you through the problems. If you could do the problems on here, you can do the problem calculations on the exam and will be well prepared for it. If you have any questions before it's time to take the exam, please let me know. Thank you and have a good day.